Hello. Can you get in okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't know if I would be able to fit in this space, but I did.
Oh, that's alright.
How are you?
I'm good, how are
Good.
you?
How are you?
Good, nice to see you.
I know you too. I love your hair. We're like twins today.
Yeah, I thought, make an effort.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Going on camera.
Very Shakira. Very Shakira.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So did you get sorted okay and got here okay? And,
yeah, it's literally down the road, so I just thought, you know what, nice sea views.
Yeah,
and
I know, it's beautiful
nice
here.
chilled place, isn't it?
Yeah, me and my husband actually had our date here, our first kiss.
Oh, did you? Oh, brilliant.
I know, yes, we used to come here all the time.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
There's your coffee, actually.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Just a latte, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, good idea this, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah, but I must say, I'm pretty nervous because
I'm always nervous too at the beginning.
Yeah, see the thought of talking about yourself for like an hour, you're like, it's easy talking to other people.
I know.
But when it's about you, you start to get the fear, don't you?
Yeah. Well, don't be nervous. Feel good.
Feel good.
Hope so. Because your work is in helping people too, isn't it? You do a lot of mind body work.
Yeah, well, I do. Yeah, so my full-time job is in corporate finance, so it's totally different. But I do the RTT as well.
Yes.
I qualified last March or April, I think it was. Okay. And I kind of left it for a while because I was so busy. There was all sorts going on, and it was only kind of the back end of the year when I joined the mentoring group.
Oh yes.
Kieran's mentoring group, and then just kind of being surrounded by those people and being pushed by Kieran, etc., to go out of the comfort zone and start to kind of create goals. And I started doing the workshops and stuff. So then I kind of been trying to focus more on that side of things. I've done a couple of one-to-one sessions as well. But yeah, just trying to, as you know, juggle everything with kids and work and houses and things like that. It can be, it is. Yeah, but I love it. It's the thing that I'm really interested in. So psychology, mindset, you know. Because
the last time I was at Kieran's group session, you were there and you were doing your hypnotherapy. Is that the right word?
Yeah, hypnosis,
And it was incredible. It was you only got to do it obviously for like a short space of time, but in that space of time I was like, whoa, that is so powerful.
It is so powerful. I think. And for me, just being able to, I think it was about 15 of us or something, wasn't there? Just kind of standing there and obviously I can see all of you going into the hypnosis. Yeah. It was a really weird experience for me as well because that was the first kind of group session that I've done, and you're almost kind of going, oh my God, you know.
It's like overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. But I think,
it was brilliant.
You know, thrown in at the deep end, baptism of fire, and just a whole group, and everybody seemed pretty pleased with it. So yeah, it's very powerful. Yeah.
Well, let's even just get in, because I find that you kind of need, whenever we're talking about our stories, obviously of motherhood and being a woman, I always find that your background and your childhood and your upbringing, it all really does affect the person you become, and then affects your parenting. Obviously talk whatever you want to, you know, I'm not gonna make you talk about something that you don't want to talk about. So but what was your background and your upbringing? And because I know it was
so I was born in Germany. I was the eldest, so I was the only child for 5 years, and I was in Germany. My dad was an army man, my mum was a nurse, and for the first 5 years it was my gran that kind of brought me up. My mum went back to work pretty quickly, you know. I think it was 6 weeks or something, and and then my sister was born in 1986. Now, they didn't know at the time, it wasn't picked up during the pregnancy, but she, when my mum went to the hospital to have her, she had brittle bones. So she was born naturally, so as you can imagine, was just completely broken, you know, and she came out. So they didn't even know whether she was going to survive or not. So that was kind of obviously tough, but as a 5-year-old, you know, you're told, are you having a sister, or you know, you're having a baby, and then you just don't see that baby because you can't go into the hospital. So very quickly then we moved to England. My dad was from England, but there was a guy based in Sheffield that kind of specialised in her condition. So then I moved away from my gran, obviously speaking German. I had to start school late, so it was a bit kind of all, you know, as a child,
it's like the time when you need stability in your life.
So that was that. So yeah, growing up, pretty normalish. Obviously, Samantha had, you know, the disability, so we couldn't do, you know, the hiking, the this and that and the other. So it was all kind of centered around that. So it was, you know, it was okay.
Yeah,
It was there was a few accidents as kids. You're playing, and I had broken my sister's bones and different things. So that was
I'm sure that
was
would
different.
happen.
So that was okay. And then, but my dad, who was a very strict army man, so everything was kind of, you know, bed at 7,
Like
can't
real
go out.
order in your life.
Order, can't go out, can't do this, can't do that. So that was tough. And then when I was 15, he just dropped down dead in the bathroom. So he was brushing his teeth and had a brain hemorrhage. And I was downstairs, kind of drying my hair, getting ready for school, and then obviously all this commotion. So he passed away, age 38.
No way.
So that was a massive. That when they did the scans, they just basically said, no, the bleed is so vast that there's no hope, kind of thing. So that was that. So that catapulted me then into having to grow up really fast. Poor mum was left with obviously a teenager, and disabled child who was 10. You know, so that was tough. So yeah, I think just kind of growing up in that, going from very, very strict and very restricted and very sheltered and very immature to having that major life crisis where all of a sudden you catapulted into total opposite. You know, just I don't.
And
don't
were
really
you
know.
close with your dad then? Or did you have like a real close relationship? Or?
I don't know whether it was close, because like I say, he was very strict, and it could have been very standoffish, you know.
Right.
But I remember the night, actually, so obviously he collapsed in the morning, but I remember the night before, it was a totally different vibe. Like, you know, I remember being sent to bed as usual, but I used to do a lot of sports, and I was obviously growing at the time, and I had a load of pain in my knees, and I remember going back downstairs to say, look, I've got really sore knees here. Normally he would have shouted, you know, get back up to bed, whatever. But he was like, sit down. And I was like, what's going on here? And he was like rubbing my knees, and I just thought, how strange, totally out of character.
Wow.
Wasn't expecting it. And I just remember feeling so happy that there was this kind of, why is he being so different? And I remember coming back down like a couple of times, up and down, because I was like, I like this, you know. And then next morning gone. Yeah, so it's
the timing of that.
Yeah, so it was a bit weird, but yeah, it was one of those things. And then you just bumble through. Then I had my GCSEs not so long after that.
Right.
Did great, you know. Went to college, went to uni, that kind of thing. Did all the normal stuff, you know. And then just kind of lived my life, really. I was big into martial arts, so I was doing a lot of training, a lot of sports, and you know, it was like.
Do you find that was maybe your outlet to?
Do you know what?
Sort of stress that you've been through.
I don't know whether it was something that my dad had put me into from age 7. So I was always into martial arts from that point. I think he wanted me to be a boy instead of a girl. So it was very much, you know, do the martial arts.
Right.
And so it probably felt like it was a connection to him then, maybe, because it was something that he wanted me to do. Okay. So yeah, I just carried on, got really heavily into the training, kickboxing, Thai boxing, and then I was just, won a British title in the Thai boxing. So it was my life, really. I was always in the gyms and stuff. And then, didn't really do much with it when I moved over here.
Right.
Moved over here then 15 years ago, and was just thrown pretty much straight into motherhood. Then so then everything, boom, changed again.
And what age were you then when you had your first?
I think it was 26 when I was pregnant, and then 27 when I had Isla. So.
And you've got 3 girls.
So 3 girls, yeah. So
and they're all teenagers now.
Well, Isla, she's 14, going on like, that's not funny.
Yes. No.
Marcia, she's 11, and she's like 100% sass now. Like, I mean, she might as well be a teenager.
Wow, because girls are so, like, we know what we want. So to have 3 in your house,
it's wild.
It must be wild.
Yeah, it's like I say, I must have been so bad in a past life because somebody is laughing at me.
No way.
Honestly, but
wow.
no, they're all good. And then Heidi, she's the youngest, she's 7, and she's a rocket as well. You know, so I've got 3 at all different stages, and It's tough.
Yeah.
Like
Are you a single
sometimes.
parent then? Would you
Yeah,
be
yeah,
raising them?
yeah. So I'm single mum now. I
Mm-hmm.
split up with a dad about 18 months ago,
Okay.
something like that. So yes, I've been with him
Yeah.
14 years,
Yeah.
and kind of went out on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been navigating that for the past while,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's been up and down, to be
Right.
honest. I think there was no major kind of fallout. There was no incident.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way that we have split has been very grown up and mature, and we
important.
we did it very much. Let's stay friends. Let's keep everything as smooth as possible, and which is great,
Yeah.
you know. But then I almost think as well, has that caused not more issues, but because they have seen us just continue to have a friendly relationship and things be okay,
Yeah.
then it sets in when they realise they're not getting back together.
Yeah.
So it swings and roundabouts.
Yes.
You know, it was almost like a delayed reaction, especially with a little one. You know,
Yeah.
she was like, "When are you getting back together? And can you not just live in the same house?" Because I think it was more confusing because we still had that. We were keeping it all just completely civil. You know, so it's one of those, isn't it? It doesn't matter what you do.
Exactly.
There's
Totally.
no right or wrong.
Yeah.
But we've done it in the best way that we can.
Yeah, no, it's the best way, because I know that a lot of people that do get divorces,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the way it's left, it can be very traumatic on the kids, but to be able to stay friends is so important, because they'll really appreciate that when they're older.
I think so, and that's kind of, like, I know it's tough, and I mean they're all, you know, they're all difficult in their own way, as you know, as everybody is growing up. It's one of those, isn't it? But I just hope that, just kind of down the line, that they do look back, and even though we couldn't stay together, that they can kind of look back on it and go, well, look, that was the best that they could have done in the situation. And that's, I think, you know,
that's so important.
I think so. And just fingers crossed, you know.
Of course. And what would your, you know, obviously this is a lot to do with motherhood as well as just life, but and your story, but what do you feel would be your biggest sort of obstacle or challenge in motherhood? Like, what is there anything that you have found the hardest? Like, what? There's a lot.
Where do you start?
Where do you start?
I think for me, I've always had that much going on, right? So, you know, from Isla, I think she was 6 months or something, I was on maternity. I decided that it was actually, I came across these bags that I wanted, or that I wanted for her, and but I think it was on a Chinese website, but before Chinese websites were a thing, right? Okay. And I think the minimum order quantity, it was 100 of these bags and 24 of these bags, and I was like, really want these bags, but obviously only one for Isla. And I remember saying to her dad, look, I want these bags, I'm going to buy them, I'm going to sell them to the other mums, and he was like, no, you're not, you know. And I did, and that was the start of like an online business then that really kind of grew quite fast. So I was doing that, obviously being a mother, and then I went back full time, and then it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And I think my biggest challenge is, because I was always, you know, so busy trying to better us and get us forward as a family, and make the money and have the security and stuff, that was I really there for them in terms of time? You know?
I know.
So I think that would probably be, now I'm trying to carve out time for them, because I realise now how important it is that they all have their own individual time with me.
Right.
But because I'm a single mum now, and I still work full time, I still run, I've now a holiday business as well, and then the RTT and the hypnosis. So I've got all these different things going on, plus running the house myself, plus running all over the place. As you know what it's like, you can't constantly taxi service for them. So that's my biggest challenge, is actually what they truly need. Is that one-on-one. Right. And it's so hard for me to do that,
Yeah, because you're only one person.
Because I'm only one person.
Mm-hmm.
So then you feel guilty, and you go into this whole cycle of the mum guilt, and I should be doing, and then you beat yourself up. But then you're like, well, I hope
You're doing the best you can.
I'm doing the best I can, and I hope that they do look back and say, God, she was, juggling all that. You don't know, do you, what they're going to think.
I know, that's the thing.
You
I've
just
been
don't
thinking
know.
a lot about that, like the decisions we make as mums, we're doing it, we're doing the best, but it's scary to think, like, in like 20 years from now, are they going to look back and
Yeah.
See it as that, or see it in a different way? Because obviously we're not living through their eyes, so
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's crazy. But
Yeah, so I think that's the biggest thing for me
Yeah.
right now.
right.
And
And you just seem very, like, motivated. I don't know. I'm wondering if that comes from your daddy, because he was an army man, and he had, like. But you seem like you're very ambitious, like entrepreneurial. You're very, like you said, you got the ideas from the bags, and and you've got all these different businesses and different things. So, do you think maybe that comes from, like, your childhood and everything, like that ambition?
Probably. I mean, I think so. I mean, I always need to be doing something, and maybe it does connect back to, because my dad was the way he was. Maybe I did want to get attention, or now, because it was cut short, and I never really got that from him. Like, I'm proud of you, or whatever, because, like I say, it was very,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
That's just
yes,
the way he was, and
Of course.
and he had a lot of good qualities. Does that come from that? Maybe.
No, yeah.
You don't know. And I think when you do study the things like the hypnosis, and they're working with the subconscious and mindset and psychology and all the things that I'm kind of interested in my own time, and you start doing the work on yourself, and you start looking at that, and you start digging around in your past and making the connections, and why do I behave like that, and where has that come from?
Yeah, you start to be like,
You do.
well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, you do have those aha moments, but it can be very tough as well,
yeah.
But I think by doing that yourself, that then enables you to help others.
Yeah.
Because you need to go through that process and
Yeah.
self-discovery, and
Yeah, definitely.
to be able to kind of then be relatable to other people.
100%.
You know.
Definitely. Because I've been reading a lot of Dr. Gabor Mate.
Yeah.
Would you read his stuff?
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
I have. I'm aware of him, and I know, and I
Yeah.
follow him on
Yeah.
the Instagram and different things like that.
So he would speak a lot about that. Your childhood, and how the attachments that you have to your parents, how it shapes, like, your brain and all the wiring in your brain, and
Yeah.
it's so fascinating.
It is
'cause
fascinating.
It does make sense, you
Yeah,
know.
it definitely does, and I think, well, the RTT, which is the Marissa Peer side of things that I'm kind of, qualified in.
Yeah.
It is very much. I mean, the session, it would be the hypnosis, but then you would go to the regression. So if you've got somebody that's come to you with whatever the issue is, or blocks, or they can't move forward, or trauma, that kind of thing, when you do the regression, it is going back to events, times, memories, experiences that have shaped that. It's the beliefs that are formed,
Yeah.
within your subconscious. And the RTT is very much about kind of going and digging
Right. Yeah.
in that area to make the connections. Once you have an understanding of where it's come from, and you have made those connections, then it's something that you can then almost take out and rewire in better.
Right.
Because we're all running on programs,
Yeah.
and so they're all. Everybody has. It all boils down to the same thing. Just everybody wraps it up in different ways. So yeah,
Right.
it is totally fascinating.
Yeah. And I feel like with TikTok and Instagram, we are in, like, a world where we can have all this access to all this information. So we're the first sort of mums and women, and obviously people that are able to be mindful of these things and make the connections, and then apply it to our lives.
Yeah.
Whereas our mums didn't have that, so they just were doing what they knew.
Yeah, exactly.
And our dads, and there's a lot of compassion there for them, because they didn't have that sort of,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's fascinating that we're the ones maybe.
It's breaking the cycle, isn't it? And it's breaking those patterns, because, like you say, it can go generations and generations back. And I think that's kind of what I'm hoping as well for my girls, and the kind of theory that I have is that even though yes, I did split from my dad, and I'm a single mom, and there's been all these things, and maybe I don't give them as much time as I would like to because I've got all these other things going on, which is obviously ultimately all for them anyway. But I think from doing the RTT training, people that had a great upbringing, 2.4 children, no trauma, mum and dad still together, doesn't make any difference. They still pick up beliefs along the way which give them issues. So ultimately, doesn't matter what happens to you, you're going to be fucked up anyway. So I kind of think, well,
yes,
I don't feel so bad, because even if I was perfect, they'd still grow up and it'd be a disaster. So I'm kind of thinking, if I can do all the kind of the research now and the learning and the the training courses and the seminars and different things like that, and I gain the knowledge, then I can pass on to them the tools. And it's the tools in the toolbox that is going to ultimately help them to navigate their life. And I think the sooner that I can do that, because as you just said, like, we didn't have that.
No.
Like, so we have got to this point now where we're mothers and we're just going, oh my God. And we're having to do the work on ourselves and try and unpick everything.
Yeah.
And I just think the sooner I can give those girls the tools, hopefully, fingers crossed, they should be okay.
And you've got 3 girls as well, so that's a big one, 3 women.
Yeah, it's just I find that really, really tough. I mean, don't get me wrong, I remember growing up and thinking I'd love girls, and I actually used to think I'd love 3 girls. 3,
right,
3 was my favourite number, and I'd love 3 girls, and I got it. Yeah, I did get it.
You did get it.
It's it's spicy.
It's spicy.
That's the best way to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are your? I want to ask more questions like these. Like, what are your dreams? Like, when you the stage you are in your life right now. Obviously, your girls are going to grow up and have their own lives and things. So what's your dream in life now at this point? You know?
I think just carrying on what I'm doing, really. I mean, like you said, I do feel very kind of motivated and driven in terms of kind of wanting to push forward and wanting more, and being successful and and having a successful business. So I just want to carry on. I mean, I do a lot of work with Kieran's group and stuff, like the self-image script, and I do all the exercises, and I kind of immerse myself in the whole thing. And I'm hoping that just to I mean, it is the whole ideal, isn't it? What do you want?
Yes,
what's your biggest goals?
I know.
I mean, sometimes I do really struggle, because it is one of those where sometimes I think, what is it that I want?
Yeah.
What do I want? What are my goals? And it's all about like writing your ideal day and picturing yourself in the future. And I just think, what do I want? So I do feel a bit kind of here, there, and everywhere at the minute. I've always kind of been like that. Even I remember picking the uni course. I changed my mind so often that I was panicked then, because I just thought, if I make the wrong choice, and I went and did the nursing because it was the only thing that I kept coming back to, and I just thought, well, the safest bet really is to go into the nursing, because it's the only one that I keep coming back to over and over and over again.
Right.
So and I'm a bit like that with my future goals.
Yeah.
It changes all the time. So
yeah, I understand that. Mine changes all the time too.
I just guess, be successful, have the security, make sure that the girls are okay and they've got things to be passed down to them.
Yeah.
And I'd like to move forward with the mindset stuff and the RTT stuff and the workshops and different things like that, because it's just, it's an area that is so fascinating. And I love it, and I really enjoy it. All the neuroscience, I think it's,
so fascinating.
Yeah, I can see myself kind of moving in that direction.
Yeah.
But at the minute, obviously, I've got to pay the bills as well.
Oh yes. So you have to.
It's still.
Yeah, of course.
The full-time job and. That kind of thing.
And you're in finance too, so that's like completely. It's like your left and right brain. Which one's the creative one, the left one? And you're working both all the time.
Yeah, it's totally random. Yeah, corporate finance and solar and renewables, and it's all part of the it's all part of the same thing, and it's totally different.
Yeah. So you were a nurse. Did you study nursing then?
Well, went to uni and did the nursing, and then true to form, as I've just explained.
Right.
I kind of completed the Coming Down Foundation program and then decided I'm actually going to swap to a degree in psychology,
Right.
which I did.
Yeah.
So I moved and did that. And then because I was born in Germany and I had a German passport, I actually started the degree, and then they said, we actually can't, there was some kind of problem with the uni funding. You need to come off the course because your dad needed some kind of, you would have had to have some kind of like paperwork.
Right.
I didn't know where this piece of paperwork was, and obviously he passed away already.
Yeah.
So I had to come off the course,
Right.
and just went into like full-time employment. And the uni rang me about a year later and said they've had a similar case and they know how to kind of get over it. Do you want to come back? But by that point I was like,
Yeah.
do you know what it is? I'm earning the money. I'm in, full-time employment now, and I liked the lifestyle.
Right.
And I just didn't end up going back in the end, and that's how I ended up in sales. But the psychology, I always went back to it and always went back to it and always went back to it. So now, years later, that's when the RTT course kind of came up, and I was like, right, this is my thing. You know?
Yeah. You can tell that you're passionate about it. And even when I was in that day, you're so knowledgeable about it, and it's so. I think with the world we're living in, we need to know all this stuff now to like deal with the craziness of it all.
I think so. And it's, and I think the most powerful thing to know is that you can change. That for a long time people thought that you couldn't, your beliefs and the way you were, and that was it. But actually, to know that you can change yourself, and all the things that hinder you or whatever, you can change it. And I just think, like, how amazing is that, really?
Exactly.
you can then shape your future and who you want to be, and the things that you do,
no matter what age you are. It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, because I feel like once you do get older, I think people just automatically assume that I'm this age and I had this kind of upbringing and this life, and I can't do anything with it.
Yeah, and it's so
opposite.
Yeah, total opposite. And I just find that so fascinating.
Yeah.
And that's the RTT, when you do go in and you are looking at the regression, and even that, I mean, it's some of the stuff that comes up, you're like, mind blowing.
With clients, do you mean, or with yourself? Yeah,
with clients. Like when we were studying, you had to do, like, every month you had to do, like, with 2 or 3 different people, like practice sessions. But even just during the training, like watching her do the sessions as well, and what was coming up for people, and going, oh my god. And it was so simple to see the connections and join the dots, but it's almost like so simple that you would just look over it.
That's insane. Would you have you done breath work or anything around that?
Yeah, so I funny actually, I think it must have been just before lockdown, I got into Wim Hof. So so that's where I kind of got into the whole breath work thing. So during lockdown, it was doing the breathing and the cold showers and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of got in, that's how I got into it. And then I've done breath work with Daryl, who comes up from the Wolf Academy, and so I've had some really deep breathwork sessions, and then Kieran's done breathwork as well. So, and then we do the cold water stuff all the time.
Yeah, because she would go down with Kieran and Kira to the water in Helen's Bay.
Yes, we're doing that tomorrow as well.
Are you?
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
I started doing the cold water in I think it was September. No. April last year.
The coldest time.
Yeah, I know. And then I stopped around October because I just kept getting sick. But then I started to think, is this because I have, the diastasis recti? I think I'm saying it right. But it's the separation in your muscles after you have a baby.
Yeah.
So mine's would be quite deep. And I'm wondering, is it the cold, being in the cold, and it was getting right into my organs, basically?
Yeah, possibly.
So I had to stop, but I can't wait to go back.
Yeah,
it's amazing
definitely.
For your mind.
I think so. I mean, and you know what? If you kind of know me from like before, I am the coldest person ever. I would have the fire on in the summer, literally like freezing, and like a reptile, just can't regulate my own body temperature. And see, since starting the cold water therapy, I'm just not like that. My hairdresser now, she takes the mickey out of me because she's like, "Would you put a coat on, please?" So it's really, it's really done the opposite. But it's funny actually, because when I started doing the cold water therapy, I remember going in, and then about an hour later I would get all this arm would just go like almost like tingling dead, like the nerves. And then I remember the first time it happened, I totally freaked out. I was like, what is going on? Yeah, it just went all numb, and it felt like I was losing power in my arm, and I just couldn't find anything about it. And I'd contacted, you know, the breathwork people, and said, look, is this normal? And that happened every time I was going in the water. It was almost like when my body was warming up again, it was causing some kind of thing with my with my nerves. I don't know what it was.
Wow.
But anyway, I kept on doing it, and now nothing. I don't get anything.
Amazing.
So I don't know.
Your body's just got used to the
Got
cold.
used to it. Yeah, I just don't know what it was, or
Right.
but yeah, I just feel so much better, and I don't get the colds and the sickness. You know, and I think that is definitely from
that,
you know, training the immune system and the stress response and different things.
Definitely.
Has to be.
There's definitely connection, because when I was doing it, obviously I was getting sick, and I do think it was because of this, but it really helped with, like you said, I was a very warm person too. Like I always needed coats on, even in the house, and then to even like step in a cold shower was like, oh
Yeah.
never mind stepping in the sea. So it is all about the mind.
Yeah, it is.
Really is. Like your body follows,
Yeah.
your mind leads, and your isn't that the right
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, I do think, I mean, for me it was, I mean, I had a real fear of the sea, so the cold showers, they were fine. I could do that. The fear of the sea, and I blame Jaws in the 80s 100%. I think there's a lot of people that are like that, but yeah, even just to kind of get in there psychologically. But I think, and more so when I did split up with the girl's dad and I did go out myself, I just had this almost like surge of, right, I'm going to push myself, and I am going to do the things that, you know, scare me, and I am going to get over this fear, and I am going to do these mad things, midlife crisis, breakdown, whatever you want to call it, you know. But that's when I started going into the sea, and I'm sure he looks at me now and goes, who is it? Why did you never do this when we were together? Because I've completely gone, you know, gone for it.
Yeah.
You know?
It just shows you things in life that happen like that. You know, it does basically transform you.
Yeah.
Into the stronger version of yourself.
Yeah, always changing. You know, always changing. And
you can get through anything, really.
Yeah, 100%.
And even with all the mums I've been speaking to, you know, every one of them have like a story of like a hardship or hardships in general, and you can really see how those things, those events, really do shape who you become, and for the better, you know, make you stronger, more resilient. And I think that's the beauty of like these stories, you know. We go through all these things, but we come out stronger, and then we have all the tools, and we can like pass it down to the kids. And I think that's like our legacy of life, you know. We come here, we do these things, but then we have all this knowledge and wisdom, and then I think that's what it's about.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and that is my goal for the girls.
Yeah,
you know, okay, I might not be, you know, the best mother in the world, and I do struggle, like I really do struggle, and sometimes maybe I do throw myself into the other stuff and go, right, I don't want to be a mother, because I'm just gonna and it probably is one of those compensating things where if I, you know, do well and I give them that security in terms of finances or you know, whatever it is, you know, I don't know, it's
I know what you mean, because you know, I think we just beat ourselves up that are we doing a good job?
Are we doing a good job?
Yeah, all the time.
Yesterday, even, and my cousin will laugh when she watches this, because yesterday she rang me in the morning at like 8 o'clock or something. I didn't answer because we were having a complete meltdown. All the kids were just going absolutely mental. And then I got one of those days, and then I got them all out of the house for school, and then she rang, and I just answered, and she was like, "Are you okay? I've not heard from you." And that was it. Crying my eyes out. Oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm a crap mum, I'm this and that and the other. And I literally must have cried for about an hour, and then couldn't go into work until I put cucumbers on my eyes to get the eyelids down. And I just thought, how ridiculous. But people don't see those bits. They just go, oh, look, you know, they do this and they do this, and they, you know, they hold all this down. Like, some people say to me, like, how do you do all that? And I go, I actually don't know. Don't get me wrong, I don't know how I do it. But behind closed doors, I do crumble, and I do, you know, I do have meltdowns, and I do, you know, have days where I'm just like, oh my God, stop the ride, I want to get off. You know,
and that's that's human. That's, you know, not many people like to be raw and say that because of their fear of judgment, but I think that is so, I think every single parent, mother feels like that.
Yeah, 100%.
At least once friggin' month, week, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
We have those moments when we need to, like, you know, let it out and have a good cry.
Yeah, well, that's it. And
So
now
cathartic.
for 2 days of crying, now today I feel great.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I do. And yeah, it's so hard, isn't it? And, you know, I mean, what we've started doing now is there's a book actually, which is quite, it's only like an hour long or something, so it's worth a read. One word that'll change your life, right?
Right.
And I remember my cousin, she sent it to me, and I listened to it on audiobook, and the concept is really that instead of setting New Year's resolutions, because as we all know, we get to end of January, middle of Feb, and they're gone, is just to pick one word for the year. And it could be anything. It could be courage, it could be confidence, it could be whatever, right? And then you take that word through the rest of the year with you, and that's your word, and you weave that into everything to do with your life. So yourself, your career, you know, and all the different areas. So last year it was the first year I did it, and it was transformation was mine. So there was loads of different things that kind of went along with that, which was great. This year it's kind, and it's very much about being kind to myself and others. And that's what I'm kind of taking through now. So when I do have these moments where I'm just like, oh my God, this is just... And I do have these feelings of, I just want to run away.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be a mum anymore, and I don't want to do this anymore, and, you know, stop the ride.
Yeah.
Just kind of got to go, right,
Yeah.
just be kind. Be kind to yourself. Kind. And I think that really helps as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's just that reminder and that compassion to have for yourself when you are feeling like that.
Yeah. So that's very much my focus for this year, moving forward. Being kind. You know, being kind to the kids, being kind to my ex.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, being kind to...
So powerful being kind, isn't it, you know?
Yeah, I think so. And I remember, because you're meant to kind of like almost meditate on that word and see what comes to you. And when it first came up, I was like, kind, I'm gonna work with that.
Yeah.
Like, what's gonna...
Yes, yeah.
But I just thought, no, I'll go with it. And but actually, it's probably exactly what I do need this year.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, definitely. Be kind. I love that. I'm gonna now have to think about my... Obviously, the year's kind of only a few months in, but...
Yeah, you can do it anytime.
Yeah.
Just sit and just, you know, and just say to yourself, what is going to be my words?
Yeah.
And just always have that at the back of your mind all the time, and just, you know. And last year, like I say, it was great for me because of the transformation word.
Yeah.
Because I was single, and it was my first year single, and I had plenty of things that I needed to transform about myself.
Yeah. Whereas this year, it's about being kind.
Yeah, it's about being kind.
I love that. Gonna think of my word now. Not now, but
Yeah,
when I
let's
go
let me
home.
know. Let's let me know
Yeah.
what it is. But
Yeah.
I thought that was a really great idea,
Yes.
and
Yeah, definitely.
you know, I've kind of passed that along to a few people who now do it, and you know, you can use it in
Makes a
companies
difference.
as well. You know, you can have like a team word, or so it literally works with everything.
Yeah, definitely. And you said you worked or you studied with Marissa Peer. I love all her stuff on YouTube. Which is great.
Yeah.
Did you work with her online?
Yeah, it was all
Yeah.
online because
Yeah.
it was, I think I actually signed up, it must have been during COVID, right? Because they weren't doing all the in-person stuff, which wasn't,
Oh, yes.
yeah, it just wasn't available. But yeah, so it was a lot of kind of Zoom calls and,
Right.
you know, workshops and different things like that. And you had to obviously do all the different kind of modules and the tests,
Right.
and then you had to work with other people. So it was, do you know what, actually, it was a really, really good course.
Right.
And I know, and yes, it is expensive, and you do have to kind of go, I'm going to do this. But for anybody that is thinking about doing it, I do recommend it. It was a great course. The trainers are brilliant. The people that you meet on there are brilliant. I'm still in contact with, you know, with a few of them as well.
Okay.
And just the method itself is very, very
RTT?
powerful. RTT.
Yeah.
Yeah, rapid transformational therapy.
Right. And this is sort of a quicker version of hypnotherapy, like
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah, so what she's basically done is she's taken kind of like the best bits. I think she's been going like over 30 years, and she's trained with, you know, all the greats and things like that. But she's worked with a lot of celebrities and a lot of like royalty and entrepreneurs and different things like that. She's a great kind of, book there.
Definitely.
And she's kind of, so it's a hybrid thing really.
Right.
So it's a cross between hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, NLP, CBT, that kind of thing. So she just put the best out of everything
Right.
and then put it together. So yes, it is very, very fast, because what you're doing is you're going with the hypnosis, you're going straight into the subconscious,
Right.
because you're doing the regression and you're finding out where things have started, the origin of the issues, and then connecting the dots and then taking that out and then rewiring the new stuff. And that's then the recording, and you listen to that for 21 days. For a lot of things, it is very, very quick. I mean, there are things that, would take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But the same thing just in normal therapy, talking therapy or whatever. I mean, you could take months and months and months and months and years and years and years to get to the same to the same thing. This is almost like a fast track version.
Yeah.
And I think if you're anything like me, I want to see results straight away. If I don't see results, I'm not interested. Not, if I haven't lost a stone in the first week, done. That's me done.
Yeah, I like that.
So this ticks the boxes for me in terms of it's very fast.
Right.
Right.
I was going to ask something there, and then that plane distracted me, and I forget what it was. Damn it!
Swings round about sitting here, isn't it? It's a nice spot, but also
it's lovely. Yeah.
.
Would you come here often then, just to?
Yeah. Well, because I'm only in Hollywood anyway, so I mean the play
yeah.
park for the kids, and it's a lovely walk as well. So do you know what? It's just really handy.
Yeah. I always find the sea to be very, therapeutic. Just being near it and hearing it, it's just so calming.
It really, really is.
I always wanted a house near the sea. So maybe one day.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I had, so when we moved to Hollywood, we actually moved up in Ardmore, and because it's right at the top of Hollywood, the sea views, beautiful, and that's the house that I left. So the dad's still in there, but I remember just thinking, now that I've had the sea views and just that, just that looking out, and it does something. It does something to me. It does automatically just
calm you down.
Calm you down. There is something.
There is, definitely. It's beautiful.
Something about it, and that's probably why I like the sea swimming as well. When you are in there, okay, it's bloody freezing, but also once you hit that level of it's
just
different
quietens
level.
your mind. And we're living in a world where we're just constantly being bombarded with things, especially on our phones. We don't even realise how much is going in, and then it puts you in a bad mood, and you don't even realise that maybe something you've watched has triggered something, and then you're wondering why you feel off today. You know,
it's horrendous, and then especially for the kids, that is an issue that I do have with the kids there, with the technology and the phones. It's just, I don't envy kids nowadays.
No,
it was a lot simpler when we were that age, growing up, because there wasn't that element to it. But that's tough. So,
and they're very lucky that they have you in this, because you obviously have trained on all these different things, and I think that's amazing, because they're going to have all this knowledge from you, about being mindful and being conscious.
I think that's the that's the hope. I mean, it doesn't feel like that now, because they're just obviously what kids are like, and I think if it came from anybody else but me, they'd be more receptive.
Well, of course.
But I just think the whole just kind of drip feeding them constantly, and we keep saying and keep going and keep going and going, and I'm sure they look at me and just go, "Would you ever just shut up, please?" And I'll go, "Let's do the breathing. Let's no, I don't want to breathe." But I just it has to work some way, and I'm sure that when they look back,
definitely. And like you said, just drip feed, and they don't even know. Speak to them when they're sleeping.
I know. Do you want me to make you a recording? No. But
and they're teenagers. Didn't you say they're teenagers, and one's?
Yeah, well, one's 11, so
11.
she's at that point where, look, 11, teenager, what makes no difference. She's just hormones raging, tempers raging, and it's all
does it
fun
change,
in our house.
when they're toddlers, and then preschoolers, and then obviously till they're teenagers, the stress, which one's harder so far? Which age?
Do you know what? I really do think, I mean, you've heard it a million times, it's hard, but just in different ways, right? And yes, each stage has been hard. Obviously now you've got the back chatting, you've got the different worries, you know, they want to go out, they want to do this, and especially with the older one as well, like there's friends of hers, you know, you've got the vaping, you've got the drinking, and you're just like, wow. I think when you look back and when we were younger, I mean, that was all there as well.
I know,
you know,
true.
But you almost forget that. I just, I think it's tough at the minute, and I also think that the age that they are, plus they've had a family split, so they've had that's one of their traumas.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Even though we did it, like I said, the way we did it, it's still traumatic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And it's getting used to new things. So you know, look, they're just mini us. They're up and down. Some days are good days, some days are bad days. I think the thing with 3 girls is when we're all kind of hormones in the house.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, this was yesterday. Yesterday was the day. Yeah. Honestly, how the neighbours didn't call the police, I have no idea, because the screaming that was happening in our house was just wild.
Wild women.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's do you know what? It's just that's life, isn't it?
I know, yeah. And was there any age that you enjoyed better as a mum?
Baby. Yeah. I know everybody says, oh, you know, that's really hard and like you'll never sleep again, and but actually it's, looking back, probably one of the easiest times, because they are sleeping and they do eat and they're not mobile. For me, as soon as they got mobile, it was game over.
I know.
I was like,
I'm afraid for that day. I'm pushing it as far as possible, you know. I don't want to give them an iPad. I don't want to give them a phone. As long, you know, I'm going to hold out as long as I can. I mean, they're only 4.5 and 2.5, but there is kids now that sit on their phones and iPads, and you know, obviously that's. I'm not judging that, but I mean, like I'd be
so
afraid
hard.
that.
Yeah,
so young.
I mean, I definitely, like, my advice would be if you can hold that off as long as possible, because, and like, you know, I was like that as well, and I'm not going to do this, and I'm going to do it. But do you know what?
I know, because then their friends have it, and then you know, you don't want to make a difference.
Exactly, you can't. You know, it's so tough. You know, and you don't want to, and especially with the phone thing. Like you say, all the other kids have got the phones, and the thing is, yes, it wasn't technology when we were younger, but it is now, and it is a world that we live in, and it's not going to go back.
No,
you know. So I don't think not giving them the phone, that's not the right thing either, because then they become separate from their peers, and nobody wants to be different, and the whole kind of like, you know. But certainly with heavy restrictions on, and that's something that I am totally guilty of. I sometimes, for the easy life, you just go, I'm so busy, and I haven't got the energy, and I've got things that I'm dealing with, you know, with the businesses, and just trying to keep my head above the water, you know. And sometimes you just go, there's the easy option. Sit down on your iPad, because I need some time. And I think that's totally what every single one of us do when we need that break, you know. So my kids definitely are. They have way more screen time than they should do. Absolutely. And that's another area that I know that I need to address. But it's so hard. But I'm just being kind. Being kind to myself. Totally. You know, you can't do everything all the time. No. So. And you're not expected to either. No, so I just think, you know, a good way to handle it is just to, as long as you're moving forward in one direction, you know, one area of your life, you can't do it all at the same time, but just pick priorities and just focus. You know, and take it down into small manageable chunks, and so you're not getting overwhelmed. And I just think that, you know, the times that we live in now, so hard for us all, because we are having to juggle absolutely everything, and we don't get that headspace because of the technology, you know. And so we do need to deal with things differently. It's not like it was when we were younger, or our parents were in this situation. So we just need to adapt now and kind of move with the times, and just try and big time. And it is, you know, because you have 3 girls, I don't know, there's just something about the way they were, like Kardashians and all these different influencers. You know, do you worry about that? You know, them following these sort of like Kardashian people, and people that are obsessed with, you know, perfect body, and I mean, it's a massive.
Even, what is it, OnlyFans as well? Like, you know, it's all being very much without this sounding bad, like, how would you even describe it? When they're putting it in your face, is it like it's a normal thing now, you know, to like sort of strip down, you know, it's empowerment, you know, you're empowered, you know, not that I totally don't judge anyone that does that, but I think it's becoming like there's nothing left now. I think we're all just putting everything out there, and it's become so normalized that there's no wee bit for ourselves, like private bit, you know.
Yeah.
Would you worry about that with having all girls, or is that something that
I mean,
you
it is,
would?
yes, it's scary, and this is going back to the same thing, and it you know, I wouldn't want to be a child now, because not only have they got all the things, the hormones and the, you know, and the things that we had to deal with, but they've now got that extra layer on top, which is the social media and that kind of thing. Yes, I do. But also, I mean, I can see from my kids, Isla would be very much like, oh, I need to straighten my hair and I need to do this. And she's, you know, it's all about the TikTok and all about this.
Yeah.
And she would be influenced by that. But then the middle one, not so much. You know, she's a totally different character, and she's watching the same things. Probably being on the screen even more than Isla would be, because Isla would be very social. She'd go out and different things like that.
Yeah.
Marcia is a little bit more kind of like, she's happy to stay in and be on the screen, and not, you know, you have to really kind of say, correct, come on, let's like actually get up and like go out for a walk or whatever. But she wouldn't be as much into, like, it doesn't affect her as much. You know, the little one, we'll have to see how that one develops, you know.
Maybe it's just age as well, I suppose.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's age, but I find myself just, you know, when I am chatting to the girls, just giving them those pearls of wisdom, and just giving them, and, you know, giving them the stuff that I'm reading and learning and kind of using for myself. It's just passing it on to them, and passing it on to them.
Yeah.
You know, and saying things to the girls, you know, empowering things like, remember who you are.
Yeah.
You know, you are. And you are beautiful, and you are confident, and, you know, and you know, I got the girls for Christmas the plaques, I am strong, I am this, I am that, and then at the end it's like, I am Heidi. It's on the wall, and it's just like, remember, you know, and just do the affirmations, and hopefully trying to create that self-worth and self-esteem, so they can cope with these things a little bit better, and they don't feel so, but I don't look like that. No, you don't, but you look like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not like her. No, but you are. Remember who you are. You know, and it's just giving them, goes back to the same thing, giving them the tools to survive, really.
Definitely. 100%, because that's, obviously I have a daughter as well, so that's one thing I think about, you know, the world that she's going to grow up in, and obviously my son as well, Nathan, but because of all this in their faces with it, like, people like the Kardashians, not that they are to blame, but I think there's a lot of focus around your physical appearance, and, you know, you have to look a certain way to be successful in this world, and everything is like online now. No one really wants to, you know, study something, you know. It's all like, how quick can I get famous, how quick can I, and it's, you know, I want to make sure that I give them the tools and also inspire them, and I guess this is the whole point of this, like, to show, you know, our kids that it's normal day people that have the most inspirational stories, I guess, because they're more relatable, you know. They're not in this world of celebrity where, you know, they have all this money, all this fame, and they're not like us, you know, in a way.
I think you can't get away from it, you know. It is what it is, and even if they didn't have a phone, they're still going to be exposed to it. It's just one of those. I know. It's just one of those things.
That's it, totally. And you can't control it, like you said.
You can't control it. You can to a certain extent, but no. I mean, there's no. I mean, you're just fighting a losing battle. Personally. Yeah. You know, so it's like the RTT thing. Even if you had a great upbringing along the line, and somebody could say something to you, not even connected to your family or your, you know, and then that's it, and that's boom.
There's no escaping.
There's no escaping it. No.
And I think if we just know these different ways of handling things, then that's all we can do, really. And that gives me some, like, comfort too, to know that, like, yes, our kids are all going to go through these hard times in life, and you know, be influenced by certain people, but, you know,
just as we were.
Yeah.
just as we were, you know.
Exactly. Sometimes you forget that we still had
Yeah.
people, you know.
And we're all right.
Yeah,
you
we
know?
are right, exactly, yeah.
So
And it's just a part of their journey too, you know. It makes, you can't have a perfect life, and you have to make mistakes.
no, that's
Yeah.
it. It's having the resilience, and,
Yeah.
and that's what it comes down to, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, being able to deal with, you know, sometimes things are going to be good and sometimes they're just not. And that is very much me. You know, I am a roller coaster. Sometimes I'm on top of the world, and other times, like yesterday, you know, I've cried that much I've got cucumbers on my eyes.
Yeah.
You know, what goes up must come down. And it's knowing that sometimes you're going to feel great, sometimes you're going to feel shit. But even when you feel shit, know you're going to feel great again. Everything goes in cycles. You know, feelings just move through, and that's, you know, that's what I'm trying to teach the kids, all the things about the feelings and to express that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
I know.
But,
I know.
you know, you can but try.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because I would have spent a lot of my life thinking my thoughts were right. Does that make sense? So I would self-sabotage quite a bit because I would believe the thoughts that would come in, you know, like, oh, who are you to do this? Or, you know, worrying about what people think, and like, that's not a good idea. Like, and then I would like scribble it out or rip it up, you know, and you would do these things like self-sabotage all the time, because in that feeling and those thoughts you had that day, you know, they don't stay. Like, the change, like the next day you're on top of the world, like you said. So you know, I've really learned that, like, just because you're having a down day doesn't mean
to. Yeah, exactly.
it's going to be like that tomorrow or the next day. So it's, like you say, a cycle.
Yeah, cycle. And it's very hard, you know, when you are in that situation, you are having those feelings. So yesterday, there's probably nothing anybody could have said to me, you know, that would have made me feel better. But I just knew that I just had to ride it out. And
and would you be open to your emotions in front of your kids? Would you let them see that you're human? Yeah, I think it's important.
I wouldn't have done at some point, but then I remember having I got like 4 it's like psychology sessions through work, the last place that I worked, and I was like, yeah, I'll take them. And she was actually really, really good, and there was some things that she said to me that really kind of, you know, moving forward has helped me. And she was like, well, why don't you cry in front of your girls? And I'm like, well, I do, but I don't like to, so I try to hide it. And she was like, but why? Why do you do that? And I was like, well, because I don't want them to see me not being strong. And she says, but you can't be strong all the time. So for them to see their mum sometimes be strong and sometimes breaking down crying, that's you know, that shows them life, and that shows them that it's okay for them to cry. And then when they're older and they're having a meltdown, you know, not wanting to be a mum or not wanting to, then that's okay as well. And was it yesterday, the day before? I've had 2 days where I've been really like, and the little one was like, are you okay? I said, yeah, mummy's just sad. She's just having a sad day. And she came over and gave me a hug. I was like, oh, that's nice. And then she wrote me a card. I love you, mummy. You are the best.
Oh.
And that was it. And I was like, thank you so much. That's made me, you know, that's made me feel better. But yeah, so I don't.
You don't hate you're human.
No, I don't. And I think from me starting to do that, the meltdown that we had yesterday, when the eldest left for school, about 10-15 minutes later, there was a text came through saying, I'm so sorry, Mum. I was so angry. I shouldn't have behaved like that. And I just thought, right.
Well, there you go.
So that is, you're not going to stop the fighting. You're not going to stop the screaming or the meltdowns or the arguments or whatever. But what you can change or what you can affect is what happens after. And the fact that she texts that so quickly just shows that
what you're doing is working.
Hopefully. Yeah,
it is.
Getting somewhere.
Because I remember reading in a book as well that it's important to show your children that it's okay to cry, you know, because like you said, it's how you afterwards, how you handle
just
things.
Emotions.
Yeah.
That's what I say, you know, and very much, you know, very recently with the little one, I've said, everybody's happy. When you're happy, you laugh. Everybody gets excited. Everybody gets angry. Everybody gets sad. Everybody, it's just feelings.
It is.
And that's it. And you're going to, I said, you're going to have all those feelings. Some days you're going to feel like this, some days you're going to feel like that, and that's fine. But it all moves through.
Yeah.
You know?
it's like taking the shame away from crying and feeling angry, because there is a lot of shame around, especially girls.
Yeah.
Do you not feel this? You know, growing up, like, you have to be a good girl, you're not allowed to be angry, because you know the shame you would feel around being angry.
Yeah, so it's just taking all that out and saying, look, however you are going to feel, that's fine, but just know that it will pass. And it's not, you know, you're not going to be like that
Forever.
And that gives you some comfort and gives them some comfort as well.
Yeah,
I think,
definitely.
you know, sometimes you just got to go to bed.
Yes.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
just go to bed and see you in the morning. You'll feel okay.
Yeah.
And,
Or just jump in the shower is another one that always helps me. Just get in water. There's a saying, like, when the kids are crying when they're younger, either bring them outside into air or put them in water. Did you ever hear of that saying?
No, but it makes sense, doesn't it? It's like a reset, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the sea swimming, reset.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I can't wait to get back in the water. Oh.
Well, we're going tomorrow at 7:30, Helen's Bay.
Yeah,
there.
I know.
No pressure.
I haven't had a cold shower in a while, so I need to prep my body.
Do you know what? I actually think the cold showers are worse, way worse.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd much rather do it's easier to get in the sea.
Yeah.
Cold showers, like.
I know. I suppose. Yeah. I might show up and be like, hello.
Morning. 7:30.
Yeah. But yeah, so I always ask the question you've always seen in the videos, but you know, what's your legacy you want to leave behind? I know we spoke a bit about like what you want to you know, pass on to your children, but like, what, Stephanie, like, what is your legacy? Like, what doesn't have to be anything magnificent, obviously, but what's your legacy?
I just want the girls to, you know, when they're older, just to look back and go just like kind of think, God, my mum, she was a legend.
I love it.
She was a legend, you know.
Yeah.
She just, she juggled so many things, and she was strong, but she was weak. But she, you know, she was everything. You know, so the legacy I want to leave is, she was everything. She was a bit of everything, but she was a legend. I love it. Is that too much?
No, I love it. No, my kids say that too. You're a legend. Yeah. That's lovely.
I think so. So it's work in progress. Get in there.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy that you came and spoke to me and shared your story, because I think we all have our own story, don't we?
Yeah.
Every single one of us. We all think we don't, but we do.
Yeah.
And we just, I think sharing it is just letting other people see that we all have the same struggles. We all go through the same sort of things, but we all come out the other end.
Yeah, and it'll be fine. Everything will be fine. It always is.
Yep.
You know?
Definitely.
So, thanks for having me. It's been great.
I know. And I'll probably see you then again.
Tomorrow, 7:30.
I will try. What day is it tomorrow? Sunday? Sunday. Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll let you off this week. Put you on the spot.
Yeah. But yes, thank you very much.
Thank
you. I'll see you soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank
We'll talk here, obviously. But yes, bye. Thank you.